All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about a huge shift happening in the world of artificial intelligence. We're moving from AI that just predicts things to AI that can actually create things.
But before we get into all that, let me ask you something. Just think about your day so far. What AI have you already used? You might not even realize it, but I guarantee it's not some sci-fi future tech. It's already a part of your life.
I mean, did you ask Siri or Alexa about the weather? Did Amazon suggest something you might like? Maybe you used autocorrect to fix a typo in a text, or even just searched for something on Google. Yep, all of that is powered by AI. It's kind of like this invisible engine running in the background of our digital lives. So to really get our heads around this new creative AI, we've got to take a step back and look at the big picture first. Think of this as our map for today. It's like a set of those Russian nesting dolls. We're going to start with the biggest, outermost doll, artificial intelligence, and work our way right down to the very center.
So that biggest doll, artificial intelligence, or AI, is really just this huge, broad idea. And believe it or not, it's been around since the 1950s. It's the simple but really ambitious goal of making machines smart enough to do things that usually require a human brain.
Okay, so that's the big dream. But how do you actually make a machine smart? Well, that brings us to our next layer in the doll, and it's all about the art of prediction. And this is machine learning. See, instead of a programmer trying to write code for every single possible scenario, which is impossible, we do something different. We just give the machine a whole lot of data and let it figure out the patterns for itself. It basically learns from experience, kind of like how we do. The whole process is actually pretty straightforward in theory. You feed a model tons and tons of input data, pictures, text, numbers, you name it, and through this training process, it gets better and better at spotting patterns and giving you a useful output, like sorting all those things into the right buckets.
Now, this basic idea of learning from data, it builds into something way more powerful. It's a model that's inspired by the most complex thing we know of, the human brain.
And that brings us to neural networks. The name kind of gives it away, right? They're a type of machine learning model designed to work a bit like our own brains, with all these digital neurons that are connected to each other and pass signals back and forth. You can think of the basic setup like this. You've got information coming in one side, through an input layer. Then, it gets chewed on and processed in these hidden layers in the middle. That's where all the real thinking happens. And finally, a decision or a prediction comes out the other side, from the output layer. Now, a simple network might just have one or two of those hidden layers. So, what do you think happens when you start stacking them? I'm talking dozens, maybe even hundreds of these layers deep. Boom, you get deep learning. That's literally all the word deep means here. It's just talking about the depth of those layers in the network. And with more layers, the AI can start to understand incredibly complicated and subtle patterns that a simpler model would just completely miss. So how does it actually learn anything? Well, it's basically a really smart version of trial and error. First, it takes a guess based on what it sees. Then, it checks its own work to see how wrong that guess was. After that, it goes back and adjusts all its internal connections just a tiny bit to make a better guess the next time. And then, it does that over and over and over again, millions of times. And this constant feedback loop, predict, check, adjust, repeat. That's the engine of deep learning, right there. It's how the network literally trains itself, going from making completely random guesses to producing incredibly accurate results. Okay, so all of this, the huge piles of data, these brain-inspired networks, this endless learning loop, it has all led to something totally new. We finally reached the center of our map, and this is where we meet the creator. So here we are at the very core of our nesting doll. You see, generative AI isn't some totally separate thing. It's a specific, really powerful capability that has emerged from right inside the world of deep learning. So what is it? Well, generative AI models are different. They don't just analyze or sort information that's already out there. Nope, they create something brand new and original. You give it a little nudge, a prompt, and it can generate text, images, computer code, even music. And this right here, this brings us to the most important distinction in this entire explainer. This is the real aha moment that separates the AI we've known for years from what's happening right now. It really just boils down to this. Most traditional AI acts like an analyst. Its job is to look at a piece of data and classify it. It answers questions like, is this a picture of a cat or is it a dog? But generative AI, it's the artist. Its job isn't to classify,
Its job is to create. It follows a command like, draw me a picture of a cat. See the difference?
I love this quote because it just nails it perfectly. Traditional AI learns to label the world. Generative AI learns to build new worlds. That's the huge leap we're talking about.
And the results are just mind-blowing. We're talking about everything from writing your emails and summarizing long reports to generating photorealistic images from thin air, writing computer code that actually works, and even creating short videos from just a text description.
So let's do a super quick recap of our journey down the rabbit hole. We started with the big, overarching idea of AI. Inside that, we found machine learning, which learns from data. Deeper still, we got to deep learning, using those complex neural networks. And right at the very heart of it all, we found generative AI, the part of AI that doesn't just predict, it creates.
And that leaves us with this final, really fascinating question. For decades, we've been building AI to help us understand and predict the world. But now that it can create, the only real limit is our own imagination. So what are we going to ask it to build next?